My name's Rob Fenner. I'm a musician and a playwright. And recently I've adapted this, Helen Forrester's Twopence to Cross the Mersey, which tours the UK from September the 6th. Now Helen and I go back a long way. We first met in 1992. She'd heard one of my songs which I'd written with my brother Al, and it was based on a line from one of her books. She got to hear of it. We ended up performing it for her, and she used it when she was promoting her books around the world. We became firm friends, and since then we've done various adaptations of the show. But for me, the story begins not in Liverpool, but on the other side of the River Mersey. Which brings us to Hoylake and the family home of Helen Forrester. Now we have to remember that Helen had not seen this house for 7 years while she was stuck over in Liverpool, not having the twopence to cross the Mersey. But when she did finally visit it in 1938, she said this about it: "It looked exactly the same as I remembered it. Straight red tile path to the front door, carefully swept and washed." And as we can see, that red tile path still remains. So let's go inside and find out some more. So many thanks, Irene, for inviting us into your wonderful home. Okay, it's a fascinating place to be in. So tell me, when you bought this house 40 years ago, you say,
Yes.
were you aware of its significance in the Helen Forrester story?
No, not at that time. We knew straight away that it was the Huband family home, and that Grandma was a nursery teacher and it was a little nursery school. And apart from that, nothing. People used to tell me that Helen Forrester lived in your road, but I didn't realise it was our house.
Because of the name Huband?
Because of the name Huband, I didn't realise that that was her real name.
Now I've heard that you used to get people peering through the window and stuff like that, and on one occasion there was a gentleman outside with his family that was, and tell people about that, because I think that was the moment, wasn't it, that you realised?
Well, I was gardening,
Yeah.
popped my head up, and 3 people were across the road taking photographs. And I looked, I was very inquisitive, and the fellow said, "Hope you don't mind taking photographs of your home, but my mother was born here." And his wife said, "Oh, you might have heard of her, it was Helen Forrester." And I said, "Oh yes, I have heard of her," but I hadn't read any of the books at that time. So I brought them in, and they had a little look around and told me a little of her story.
Now what year was that?
April 2015.
It's weird because the show had been running for quite a few years before that. You know, in different incarnations. It was a musical, and then we adapted it to a straight play. Of course, the gentleman in question was Robert Bartia, wasn't it?
It was, yes, it was. It was Robert, and we have kept in touch since then. And I have read all the books. Straight away, I had to read all the books.
I think what people need to know is that the room that we're sitting in, the whole saga, it actually started in this room. This is the room that Helen's mother and father were in, asking the grandmother to lend them even more money, because
Yes.
he invested heavily in stocks and shares, and despite the fact that he had a sort of financial background, he wasn't very good at managing his own money, and he was basically shown the door. That Helen's mother and father were dismissed as worthless spendthrifts, as Helen put it, and that was the last time she was in this house, even though she was born here and spent a good part of her
She
first 10 years.
spent a lot of time, yes, all her summer holidays here.
And the only time she visited it again was 1938. I feel very privileged actually to have been entrusted with their most famous work, because I have an obligation to her readership that it's an accurate portrayal of what she would want to see herself on stage. Provenance is everything. So anyone out there, you're going to see Helen Forrester's tale, not Rob Fenner's, Helen Forrester's. Thank you very much for letting us come in and talk about it. You know,
You're welcome.
I always find it fascinating. Thank you.
Well, I love this house, and you're welcome anytime.
And you're coming to opening night at the Floral
I
Pavilion.
certainly am.
Good. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
So for all you Helen Forrester readers out there that want to see Twopence Cross the Mersey come to life, then it begins here at the Floral Pavilion Theatre in New Brighton on September the 6th. We then visit 14 other theatres. The dates you'll find below by clicking the blue link.